Hollywood. Just go ahead. Take your time. Take your time, Hollywood. I mean, you're a big deal here. I don't want to start the show without you. You're dressed like a domestic terrorist today. All right. It is Pick Central.
I just don't understand vest. It makes no sense to me. Just like...
Get sick on the bus with the jacket.
But
jacket.
Yeah, but the vest doesn't make you warm. You know it doesn't.
If your arms aren't warm, I don't understand why a vest helps. I don't wear vests either.
Like when you put a vest on, you know you're an asshole.
I'm with Marty on the vest thing.
Okay, Marty.
What?
Keep pissing me off.
Just keep going, Marty. Keep digging.
Oh, my
Keep
God.
fucking digging. All right, so for the first time ever, we have we have awarded a listener, a fan, to come in and, I don't know, I wouldn't call you a fan. You're a friend of the show. It's Mark in Philly. Mark in Philly, who often calls. He calls both this show, and if he wasn't a good gambler, he wouldn't be here, but he is.
He'd be the 6-iron kid waiting on the sideline.
Whoa. Don't throw shots out like that, because I understand, and TJ, maybe you could correct me, does 6-iron kid have beef with Mark and Philly being here today?
Yeah, he sends some DMs to the Pick Central account that seemed like he was pissed off.
We can't have this. We opened up a new door. I can't have this.
We have enough crazy people in the chair.
The 6-iron kid.
Fucking both of them.
The 6-iron kid is hot.
Yesterday after the show, he said, I will be calling into show tomorrow to address crew. We'll say this. I have a lot to get off my chest. It was always the 6-iron kid.
I'd like to hear it.
Philly with Mark or whatever his name is ignited a flame. The 6 is coming.
So this isn't his day, though. We'll talk to him. We'll let him call. If he calls, tell him to call about 12:30 or something like that. We'll get to him later. Mark, how you doing?
Hilarious.
I'm doing great. This is a huge deal for me. This is a dream come true. I'm a huge fan of all you guys. I'm a huge fan of some of the guys I got to meet out there. And yeah, like you said, I'm a gambler, so I'm happy to be here on a gambling show. And as a wise and well-traveled man who may not be a very good gambler once said, let's get down on Football Friday.
That might be. I wonder who that could be referring to. Glad to have you. Glad to have you in studio.
I would have bet $1 million you had blonde hair. I did not think. I've been
seeing Mark. I've been seeing Mark on his things that he does on Twitter and Periscope and all. Not Periscope, but whatever it is nowadays. So I knew what he looked like. I will give him credit for this. The man brought in two packs of Krispy Kreme donuts.
The first thing I said, more than you've ever brought in.
Not true at all.
Oh, hey, guys, I got some 4-day-old chili I made here, cleaning out my fridge.
That's when chili's the best, when it's 3 or 4 days old.
I disagree.
I don't care what you agree with.
It's like
Rico.
cement.
I don't care. And you also brought some Chick-fil-A. So
yeah.
You came in hot for the boys. I have 7 wrestling interviews over the next 8 days.
Oh, wow.
To get ready for the relaunch of wrestling, which is coming very soon. Mark, you're a fan of wrestling, right?
I'm not afraid to say that it's the premier wrestling podcast in this country.
So fuck you, Marty Mush.
Oh yeah.
Do you have the premier podcast for anything?
Oh yeah, I love when people know what the ending is already.
I will say also, Stool Bench Mob, premier college basketball podcast of the country.
Okay,
Of
well,
course.
you don't have to lie to have
There you
friends.
go, Mark.
Did you have a play on the game last night, Mark?
I had Taysom Hill first touchdown score. I thought, it was really juiced up. So I don't play first touchdowns very often, and I stayed away from sides and totals in that game. Just with the Saints right now, I want to believe in Sean Payton at times, but then you look at the roster and it's like, how could you buy in? I think Sean Payton's a top 5 coach in football, but at a certain point, you got to have players out there.
The O-line injuries, the tackles being out, Armstead and Ramczyk actually is hurting them almost more than the skill guys, because those guys are too.
Do we start looking at that at Brad Stevens? Of being like, what did he do?
What do you think, Mark?
Pro-wise. College, he's a legend. You take Butler 2 times. Pro-wise, did he do anything with the Celtics?
Yeah, I think it's a case-by-case basis. I mean, with Sean Payton, I think he's kept up a level of success after those Super Bowls that make you go. It's not like he's going 7-9 and 6-10 and missing the playoffs an absolute ton. But I think Izzo is a fair person to bring up here, and I think he's a fair person to bring up as well. Brad Stevens, I mean, he went and coached. He's the GM now. He's the president now. It's really a bizarre thing going on in Boston with the Celtics.
I guess the difference with Stevens is that his success was on the college level, and he hasn't had the success on the pro level, but it does seem like we have treated him like he's had the success on the pro level. So that's the line. Like when you win the as much as he did, I guess maybe the line's in the middle where you win one earlier in your career and it's assumed that you're going to be great, like a Peyton, like a Anybody else that I brought up?
Mike McCarthy for him. I mean, when he first got hired by Green Bay and he won the Super Bowl really early, people just assumed he was a good coach. I mean, he's coaching Dallas now. They're pretty good, but I think that Mike McCarthy's kind of holding them back.
So what about Calipari?
What about when they had John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Eric Bledsoe, and lost to Devin Ebanks in West Virginia in the Elite Eight? Calipari is a recruiter, not a coach.
Devin Ebanks from Bishop Laughlin High School, Brooklyn, New York.
Nice.
Okay, so your team's been coached by Brian Kelly for a while. What'd you think of Southern Brian Kelly?
Yeah, I mean, sports was funny because you defend someone for so long against all the people coming at you about him, and you know how Notre Dame's accomplishments the last 5 years have been diminished completely. Everything Brian Kelly's done
shouldn't have been. Go ahead.
I agree completely, obviously, and Brian Kelly's been diminished as well. But you defend him and you say, well, he's not that much of an asshole for 12 years, and then the week he leaves, and I'm not saying he wasn't an asshole the whole time, but it feels like he's really upped his asshole cred by leaving in the middle of the night, scheduling a 7 a.m. meeting, and then obviously. I think the Southern accent, talking like he's Daniel Craig in Knives Out or Foghorn Leghorn. He's just becoming the most unlikable coach in college football as we speak.
When they introduced the team to a coach they love, that is fantastic. Just the boys being boys together. What do you think about Marcus Freeman?
I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not going to lie to you. Luke Fickell was the guy that got me most excited. But it's like you said when I called into your college football show, it's not about what gets me excited. It's about what gets the recruits excited. It's about what gets the players excited. And it's nice. I mean, we just talked about Brian Kelly being a curmudgeonly old guy. It's faking a Southern accent. It's nice to have this young kind of energy infused into Notre Dame. Maybe they won't be looked at as the stodgy old program anymore. And that video is not curmudgeon or stodgy. That whole team was pumped for him, and that kind of confirms the reports that they were going to the AD begging for him.
I'm more excited about Notre Dame football going forward than I would have been if Brian Kelly was still there.
I will say I have some Penn State heathen friends, or State Penn, I should say, Rico, but those guys are very upset about Brent Pry leaving to go to Virginia Tech.
I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry. I just noticed something. Can you just open your jacket a little bit?
Rico was my costumer today. He was my outfitter.
Did you wear that into the building?
No, it's a new shirt.
Gotta take care of the guests. Everybody leaves with a gift bag.
Gave him the shirt.
You gave him the shirt to wear on the show today?
It was his choice to put it on today. I did say it might piss off Brandon. That's all I said.
This guy walked in and you gave him a Rico Ryder shirt.
How do you treat your guests? What'd you give him? A fucking figurine?
They lost to John Morantless Grizzlies by 70. It was the most stunning score I've ever seen. Because I saw it at halftime. It was 72-36. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, that's an interesting score. Getting doubled up, that's embarrassing, but that's the end of it. They'll lose by 20 or something. They lost by 75 points. That's just 73, excuse me.
But, the NBA had to step in on the process Sixers. That was getting out of hand. But, the Thunder, this is fine. Let's just let this slide and let them lose by 73, and that's fine.
There is a ton of pick and choose as far as the NBA with shit like that. Like now the super teams are going.
That was 10 years ago.
They wanted nothing to do with the Sixers rebuilding, but Thunder are defenseless, and
they forced Sam Hinkie out and gave us the Colangelos, who then had a Burnergate scandal on Twitter because he was tweeting about Joel Embiid taking his shirt off and pretending to be a middle-aged parking attendant at the Wells Fargo Center. So, the NBA ruined the Sixers of this era, in my opinion.
Now, wait a minute. The Sixers have done plenty
believe me,
plenty on their own.
Yeah.
Investing in Al Horford when they were,
Michael Carter-Williams.
Markelle Fultz. I mean, there's a lot going on here that the Sixers can be blamed for.
You can do a top 30 of ways that we've messed up the process, but they still have Joel Embiid. They still have had some, they've made the playoffs. They've been one of the top 5 teams in the East recently. So even with everything that's went wrong, I still think that proves that the process was kind of the correct way to go when you're sitting with Evan Turner and Drew Holiday and no one else. I do think that they had to do something to get out of purgatory. They didn't do it successfully. They didn't do it to the degree where, you look at some of the other teams that have tanked in other sports, like the Astros. They're not the Astros, but they did turn themselves into a much more relevant team than they were post AI.
Football Friday. We have championship weekend. I have a couple that stick out to me. Mark, you're the guest. You have a lot of notes on your sheet. A lot of notes. And blue pen. I don't believe in writing with blue pen. I believe in writing with black pen. That's okay. You do you. What championship game is your favorite from a gambling perspective?
I think it's got to be Georgia. I think you got to look at the main game. You got to look at Georgia-Bama, and I'm riding with Georgia. You say it all the time. I think that the only reason that you can really sell yourself to bet on Alabama right now is the logo. It's the color. It's Saban patrolling the sidelines. there's just too many. You play the common opponent game. I know that that's not, always beneficial. You look at the teams that Alabama has struggled with, that Georgia has just absolutely killed. Georgia is giving up 6.9 points per game on defense. Like, I've never seen that before. I've never heard of anything like that.
Georgia's giving up 6.9 points a game. The second lowest total in this country is 15. They are 9 points clear of second place. That's how elite their defense has been. That's
what I said.
They have cruised all year outside of Clemson, and now this is the biggest moment, and they haven't been able to beat Alabama in a big moment. I guess I counter that. They haven't played an Alabama like this in a big moment, and they haven't been this good in a big moment.
Doesn't it feel like this is the year where those teams that can't beat certain teams get through? Oklahoma State, Gundy finally gets through and beats Oklahoma. Michigan finally gets through and beats Ohio State. Feels like Georgia could break that. I mean, Tua was joking about it today, talking about it to the media. He's like, I don't remember the last time Georgia beat us. I think it's 6 straight that Bama's won. So, I think it could be the continuation of a theme of this season.
I really like Houston. I really do. I think they're going to be in this game. 11, that's 2 scores. I could be within 2 scores and be fine.
To give Rico credit, he's been talking about Houston since Win Total Wednesday. He's been high on Houston since before the year. So they have won 11 straight.
Let me talk to you.
Hey, I'm all for everybody here. Everybody love everybody.
Hold on, this is not. Turn the cameras off. Turn the camera. You don't have to give credit to Rico. Did he tell you before the show?
No. We've discussed. We went back and forth on Houston earlier on in the year when I called in, I believe.
They can't lose 31-3.
They lose by 10. He still wins it. I think it literally have to just get shut out
31-3 or something,
or 1 touchdown.
I like that Pickett take. I think that he's going to have a huge day tomorrow. Wake Forest gave up 56 to Army. Like I think that they have no semblance of defense. Pitt's going to hang 60.
Are we all too confident in Pitt?
Probably.
Because I haven't heard.
This is so unrelated because we moved on from the Cincy topic.
Related to what?
Yeah, that's fair. To Youngstown Bob looking like Peter Griffin. But I'll say that I think Cincy covers, and this is the kiss of death because every time I've said this year, the team is went to shit. I said Clemson could win the title. They lost to Georgia. I said Oklahoma could win the title after Red River. They lost. I said Ohio State was going to win the title going into last week. I don't know if Cincy can win the title. I'm not going to say that. I really want them to get Michigan in a 2-3 matchup in the college football playoff. I think they'll be about plus 10 or more, and I would love to take Cincy in that situation.
Mark, you're really blind without those glasses, huh?
Oh, big time.
Yeah, you could bump into the walls and shit.
Big time.
I could see that.
Yeah, you're walking.
Those are some thick glasses.
You're walking around out there outside with the mask on. It's fogging up. I can't see where I'm going. It's a mess.
Oh, yeah.
I could see the board, though.
You can see the board. That's what they're for. I like the Chargers. I don't know why.
I do, too.
I love the Chargers plus 3 at the Bengals. It seems like a time to fade the Bengals.
I'm going with the Bengals here. I like the Bengals over the Chargers, but it's mainly out of more concern for the Chargers than me being pumped up about the Bengals.
Yeah.
Brandon Staley is supposed to fix this defense. They're 32nd in rushing and 31st on third down. That defense has a lot of problems when you're letting Teddy Bridgewater run down the field on you.
Do me a favor. Don't say any stats anymore.
Gotcha.
It makes Marty look very unprepared.
Yeah, I also just looked outside when you started saying
I
that.
bring stats.
I'm joking, Rico. Goddamn.
No, Marty's an anti-stats guy.
I am an anti-stats
You're
guy.
a field player, huh?
You don't like Katie? Do you have picks, Mark?
I do.
Okay. Mark in Philly gets to go first today. You are right. I am saying you are
Mark
right.
didn't bring picks. That'd be wild.
Go ahead, Mark.
Afraid you just wasted 10 seconds asking me as picks.
Shut up.
This one, I'll just tell a very short story with it. The Sixers plus 2.5. The last time I was supposed to come in and be a guest on Pick Central was when they blew a 26-point lead in Game 5 against the Hawks. So let's flip around that juju. Sixers going to beat the Hawks tonight plus 2.5. And then I'm all over the Utah game. I've got Utah minus 2.5, and then Utah team total over 29.5. They actually averaged 37 points and are 8-1 with Cam Rising. So I think Utah's just a better team. I've got Purdue team total over 85.5. They've hit that in 6 of their 7 games, and Iowa gave up 82 to Alabama State. So I think Purdue will pretty easily be able to score 86. And then I think false positive LeBron is coming out to win tonight. I took money line when it was around -1. I think that line might have changed a little since I've been in New York. But Clippers are 0-5 against the spread in the last 5.
I got Western Kentucky -3 in Conference USA. I have Oregon money line. Everything Mark said is true. I think Utah is a better team, but I think Oregon's got that embarrassment going through them right now. Mark, how'd you like it?
Dream come true. I'd be here anytime. Anytime you want me, I'll drop everything.
How long did it take you to get here? About 2 hours?
An hour. A train, nothing.
He's really from Philly, so it's a little easier.
A train from here to Philly is faster than me.
Do not miss the college football show in the morning.
Home.
Thank you, Mark.
Of course, anytime.
The Yak is up next.